I was talking to someone recently who said, Christian, I read the Bible all the time, but it feels like an hour after I read it, I completely forget everything and then I can't apply any change to my life. And that's something that is a very relatable problem. I've had that problem myself, but by the grace of God, one day it finally clicked for me. The Bible was an instrumental tool from taking me from a lonely introvert into a community-driven father and a husband. So here are the 3 steps that help me use the Bible to transform my life. Let me start by talking about a video I saw recently. I saw this video of Tom Brady, now in retirement, throwing a football around, and people noticed that after he threw the football, he would put his hands on his belly like this. And the reason he did that was because he used to play in New England for 15 plus years and it was cold there. So they would have these hand warmers in packs back when he played in New England. And so because he played in New England, he was so used to throwing the football and then immediately putting his hands on the hand warmers so his hands could be warm for the next time he was throwing the football. And because he had done that for so many years, it just became second nature to him. It became his habit. Even though it's totally not a natural thing to throw a football and then put your hands on your belly, he did it so often that it became natural for him and became second nature to him. And so that's the goal with having transformation. It's making it second nature that you don't even have to think about doing it because it's so ingrained in you. It's who you are now. And so what worked for me to get to that point is by focusing on one thing at a time. I'm a guy that's an overthinker. I have so many things in my mind all the time. And when I think about too many things, they all fall into mediocrity. And so I decided I just got to focus on one thing at a time. And through that, I'll actually be able to make that one thing great rather than multiple things be mediocre. And so step 1 when you're reading the Bible is to pick one thing that stands out to you. Me and my wife had been reading Corinthians, and one verse that stood out to me in Corinthians is 1 Corinthians 10:31. Whether you eat, drink, or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And that's the verse that stood out to me, and that's what I picked to be the one thing. So for you to find that one thing, I recommend praying before you read the Bible, praying after when you read the Bible, even during, and ask God, Lord, reveal to me what is the one thing you want me to take away from this? What is the one thing you want me to focus on as I read your word? And then I believe that it will be pretty obvious to you what that one thing is. So after you pick that one thing that really stood out to you, step 2 is to memorize the verse or the passage that that one thing is in. And so for me, that's memorizing 1 Corinthians 10:31. Whether you eat, drink, or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And it's so important to memorize this and recite it throughout the whole day so it's constantly in your head. Because you're going to lose focus on what you're trying to work on, what you're trying to achieve, if it's not constantly in your head. So memorization keeps the concept in your head. It keeps you locked in and focused on it throughout the day if you're reciting it to yourself throughout the entire day. So then step 3 is work on that thing becoming second nature. Like I was talking about with the Tom Brady story. It was so second nature for him to put his hands on his belly because he used to have hand warmers there that he still does it in retirement. You want to get to the point where the one thing you're focusing on is second nature to you so that when it's time to move on and work on another area of your life, you don't have to split your brain power between 2 different focuses. Because the one thing for me, it's glorifying God in everything I do. If I have that become second nature for me, then when I move on to something like maybe not being angry all the time, I'm not splitting my brain's focus in half and I can fully devote myself to focusing on not being angry. By making it second nature, you can continue to grow and add different areas of growth and transformation in your life. And so for me, making something second nature, like practicing glorifying God in everything I do, for me, that means setting a timer every hour. And at that hour, I remind myself, what I'm doing right now is for God's glory. Don't do this selfishly. Don't do this for your own glory. What I'm doing right now is for God's glory. Let me give thanks to Him. And by doing something like setting an alarm every single hour, reminding myself to glorify God, it becomes a habit in my mind that when I get to the point where I'm not setting the timer anymore, it'll still be in my head and I will constantly still be doing that, even after I've stopped using the timer, even if I've stopped being so focused and self-conscious about it. And so there's no timeline for how long something like this will take. Maybe it'll take you a week to make something a habit. Maybe it'll take you 2 weeks. Maybe it'll take you a month. But I really want to encourage you, focus on one thing and let that become second nature. So then you actually have transformation, and then you'll actually have room in your mind to work on a second transformation. This is the method that helped me transform from a lonely, single introvert to a community-driven father and husband. And not that there's anything wrong with being single. I believe singleness is a gift from God. And if you actually want to hear more of my thoughts about that, you can click on the video on the screen.